Hi, gorgeous lights. Just getting to the end of my day. So I thought I'd do a couple of card spreads, just ask Spirit if they can help us with how we're going forward. Now, there's one thing that they keep reiterating to me as well. Like, as human beings, we really like knowing the way forward, how we're going forward, what that's going to look like, what we need to plan for, what we need to do. Now, in the current planetary trajectory right at the moment, we're all navigating through our different levels of consciousness, and we're all navigating through everything that's actually affecting us in our world right at the moment. There's things that we do have control over, and there's things that we don't have control over as well. One thing that you don't have control over is another person's opinion. And it's been I found it really sad in the last couple of weeks as well, just knowing that we're coming up to Christmas, which is such an amazing time, and we do have things to celebrate in so many different ways as well, and we can do that at a deeply individual level. So I said to Spirit, hey, can you just throw me out a card reading that is a little bit, helps people to understand exactly how they can navigate and what they can actually choose to do as well, because even though it may be happening at a planetary level and there's a lot of fear out of there, you do actually have the ability to actually control your own brain, your own aspects, things that you actually need to do for yourself. So they asked me to lay down 3 cards empowerment cards, they called it as well. So 3 cards for empowerment, crossed by what you could personally do, and then ending with basically a 7th card, which is a final outcome for the next couple of weeks. So the first card that they actually brought up, so I'm hoping I'm not going to blind you with the light. The first card that they actually brought up is the forgiveness card. Now, they've said that at multiple levels we are learning to actually forgive ourselves, forgive other people, forgive what we didn't know, forgive all of these things that we have around us. So there's been some real eye-openers. We're in relationship energy, we're on declutter mode, so we're getting some real epiphanies about who we want to have in our lives and who we don't want to have in our lives. Now, the main point of the reflection outwards when we're dealing with other people is how we actually treat ourselves as well. So if you have people in your life and they're not, basically celebrating or being grateful for who you actually are, being present on the earth plane, then you actually have to understand they're just reflecting a lot of the time back towards you the way that you actually feel about yourself. Now, that's really hard to look at, and people go, well, is it fear? And I'm like, well, is it fear what you actually do to yourself on the inside of yourself as well? Because we can spend agonisingly long moments investigating what we could have done differently for someone, what we should have done differently. At the bottom line, Spirit is actually saying, can you start with yourself? Can you start with yourself with forgiveness for the things that you didn't know that were coming up at that period of time? And it is an individual process. As you heal it in yourself, then you can actually give forgiveness to other people for the choices that they make as well. Now, when they said that the forgiveness card was crossed by another card, I said, in what context is a card crossed? And they said it is something that in realisation you can actually do for yourself. So crossing the forgiveness card is the word empowerment. Okay? So this is basically identification, they're telling me, of your own personal involvement, your own personal trajectory. And they said for a very long time you have actually been learning the art of discovering what actually truthfully suits you. And they said, look, it's really important for each change that you go through that you're coming into an empowerment state of what you need to do for you. Individualise, because everybody is at different evolutionary levels, and that's something that's actually really causing a problem on the earth plane right at the moment as well, is that each person has their own level of understanding, each person is able to make their own decisions, and each person needs to be respected for what they're actually choosing to do. And that's something that at a collective level that we seem to be really struggling with here as well. A lot of blame, shame, guilt, denial, all those sorts of things that are actually going on, horribly overlaid with a need to be right, coming from multiple quarters as well. And in reality, we're transitioning energy. We don't transition the energy easily. We get information, we learn information, we process information, we transfer information. It's just from where it works. there's an empowerment process that's actually going on, and it's a process. Forgive yourself for every single step of the process, they're just saying as well. So the next card up as well, which is one that they go to quite a lot at the moment in this particular deck as well. So they're saying that these cards are starting points for what you can do with yourself. If you are starting with the initial card of forgiveness crossed by empowerment, then you actually have to understand that what you're actually being given is an individual right for empowerment of choices right at the moment as well. But what we're missing is the respect of that right at the moment. Compassion is a secondary card. Compassion for self enables you to have compassion for other people. Now, compassion is also like love, is completely and utterly limitless, amazingly limitless. And yet they're reminding us that if you do have compassion towards yourself, you can have compassion towards the whole of humanity. And it is something that's really, really needed at the moment. And they said this is practice. It takes practice to become really, really truthfully compassionate. If we get out of our own way and stop taking everything personally, like it's a personal attack from everybody, then we can actually come into compassion and understanding where the other person is coming from. And the funny thing is the compassion card is crossed with travel. Now, in this particular deck, they keep telling me it's not travel at a physical level, and it's not because of what's going on in the world. They're saying you are travelling into yourself, through yourself, investigating possibilities, investigating new opportunities, looking at new horizons, looking at new outcomes. And in order to do that, you need to be compassionate to work through opportunities, solutions, and understanding. Next year's a really, really cool year. You're not going to think so when we start it, trust me, with what I've seen. But at the end of the day, it's a really, really cool year that actually pulls out the art that we have, or the art form that we actually have, to travel to the depths of ourselves, to reinvestigate things, to look at things from a different light, to look at the limitless possibilities that actually take in the expansion of us. So we've got some really interesting times coming as well. Start with yourself, seriously, it's really, really important. Now, the third card that came up made me laugh because it ties in completely. If we can investigate going beyond limits, travel to the new sectors of ourselves, look at the dark side of ourselves, treat everyone with compassion, then lo and behold, we find our answers. So answers keep coming up, but they kept it illuminating, like there's wisdom in the old guy, okay? He's travelled through the passage of time. He has actually experienced history repeating itself. He's done and weathered through it, not knowing that answers change. And something they reminded me of this afternoon is that they said that, like Stephen Hawking, I think it was, discovered his own black hole theory to pull it apart years later and investigate it in a different way. We sometimes don't have all the answers. They are work in progress. They are like these little birds that go flying around everywhere. They are little snippets of pieces that we actually have to fully investigate to actually find out the truthful alignment of what the answer is for us as well. It will change. It will change along the way. So it's really, really important. You know, crossed hands, they're over the heart. He's sitting, finding the answers that truthfully align in the heart space. This is something that you can actually do. It isn't about listening to all the different opinions that are going on. It's actually, you can pay attention to as many resources as like, or not. Ignore all the resources. It's up to you. But at the end of the day, the card that's also crossing it is the card that says finding. So if applied curiosity is always coming into play. We can't actually have fear and curiosity at exactly the same time. You can't have it. It's impossible. Curiosity says I am nosy enough to find out a little bit more rather than surrendering to being in a position where I don't have enough knowledge. Now, for years and years and years, I'm like the most curious person. Spirit has said to me, ask a question, investigate it, look at things differently, check in with people that have passed. Be brave enough to ask a question so you are finding your answers along the way. That curiosity for your answers is about finding what actually truthfully suits for yourself as well. So I said to them, what actually happens after this? If they said the 6 cards that you've investigated, that says what we need to work on in the next couple of weeks, they said there, and only there, when you investigate these 6 cards, do you find truthfully what you're looking for, which is your own strength. Your strength of understanding, your strength of willpower, your strength to rebuild, your strength to look ahead, all of that is actually tied up within those cards. And I actually really love it because, you know, it's blowing hot, cold energy. I think everybody will be noticing at the moment. One day you're really good, the next day you're down in dumps. I wanted to add on, pardon me, be very, very careful as you're transitioning through this transmuting energy, that there is lows as well as highs. It comes down to what you actually focus on, and it comes into actually realising to be careful of the waves that Spirit calls the absence of hope, of thinking that this is going to last forever when it's not. The trajectories are changing all the time, the outcomes changing all the time. There's a lot of stuff going on both on the planet and off the planet right at the moment, and there's a lot of wisdom yet to be unfolded as well. What I would ask you to do is, in these big surges of negativity as well, please hold your light, please focus on what you can do, for others, remembering forgiveness, remembering compassion, never forgetting that we're all in it together, because it's really, really, really important to actually be mindful of other people during this period of time as well. And there's an art to listening to people just to let them actually say what they've got to say. There's an art to that. It doesn't have to be an argument every time. And it's really good for you to find the people that you can talk to. Find the people that will actually listen to you. It isn't about being vindicated and going, oh, I'm going to grab that side, I'll grab that side. It's not about that. We're in this together, and it's really, really important to bring it back to that, because love is acceptance. Love is complete acceptance of the other person being exactly the way that they need to be. And I think we're forgetting that, and we're certainly not actually being encouraged to remember that right at the moment as well. But you as the individual, you can do that, and what you bring to it and the power that you bring to it when you're doing that, oh my word, you can light up a star system, seriously. And I see it because I see people in their beautiful auras, and when you're sitting in fear, seriously, you're not radiating half the power that you've actually got. So bring it back to what you can cope with, what you can't cope with. There's always going to be a tomorrow. That's the way Spirit says it. There's always going to be a tomorrow. And what you make of that tomorrow is governed by the way that you treated it today. And I totally agree. So just a parting card for you as well. They say for you, in order for you to get the closure that you actually need for this cycle, is bringing into alignment the importance of who you are and how you walk on this journey and how you approach life. Those are your closures. That's what you get. You get there in the end by actually truthfully coming into alignment of what you actually need to close off to actually move forward. You can do that on an individual basis. You've got this. You seriously do. Please stop looking so far ahead. We're not even there yet. It's about actually approaching each day as a gift it is and getting back to actually living instead of existing, because we are in this together. Have a most fabulous Christmas, guys. I'll be putting up stuff along the way, and get the rest that you need, reconnect with nature, connect with the people that you really love in love, not in fear, and put everything aside for a period of time and focus on living. We need to get back to living, and we need to get back to loving. And I wish you all the very best for the Christmas period, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.